Operation Christmas Child will always have volunteers to sort through filler at the processing center. But what is the best way to send in a shirt or piece of clothing? Hi Shoebox friends, this is Denise with D. Rogers. Welcome back to my channel for episode 12 of Filler Friday. So for today's episode, we're just going to discuss what's the best way to send in a piece of clothing to the processing center for filler. And if you remember on my sheet that I wrote down when I was working at the processing center, shirts or t-shirts were one of the items I was really hoping to find in my filler bin. They're a nice filler and they are a nice item to add to a box that needs something extra or has had something removed because it's inappropriate. So the best time to find shirts are after the holidays, and I have accumulated quite a few shirts from after Christmas shopping on clearance. I got most of these shirts for under $1 either at Walmart or at Target. So when I find shirts on deep clearance, I will buy a lot and use them as filler for the processing center. And right now I'm just going to show you a couple different ways or ideal ways to send your shirts or clothing into the processing center. The first thing you want to do on these type of shirts is take off that sticky label in the middle of the shirt that has the size on it. Over time, that will just leave some residue, and sometimes these boxes do sit around for quite a long time. However you decide to package up your clothing or shirts to send in as filler, try to make sure that the size is viewable for the processor. That is one of my biggest tips when sending in clothing. Now, Operation Christmas Child does have volunteers, and if you don't have the time to package up your clothing like this or any other way, you can just send in the t-shirts and clothing as is, and the volunteers will gladly go through them, rubber band them together, hopefully put sizes on them, but in many cases they just rubber band them together, and then we as processors kind of have to look for the size. So I just want to share with you an ideal way to send these in is to make sure that that size is visible. We really don't want to add a piece of clothing to a box just for the sake of adding something. We want to make sure that it is the appropriate size for the age and gender for that box. So for today, my first method is using an organza bag. I folded the shirt so that the size was visible. This one did not have a tag, but I wanted to make sure that that collar size could be seen. I folded it up nicely to fit into this organza bag that is 8 by 12 in size. I'll put the link in my description. The next method that I'm using is this 20-inch mesh nylon bag that I used in episode 2 of Filler Friday, packaging up boys filler that included balls. I'll put a link to that one in my description in case you haven't seen that one. Alright, so we're going to fold up these shirts and put them in nicely. I'll be taking off that little sticky tab and putting them nicely into this nylon bag so that the size is visible. Okay, there we go. I folded it up. You can see the size, and this is just another option that doesn't cost very much to send in your clothing. Another way to send them in is using a plastic baggie. This is a 1-quart plastic baggie from IKEA, or you can also use these gallon twist tie bags from Walmart. Another option is taking those t-shirts and tucking them in a cup, giving the child one more gift along with their shirt. Okay, let's get more of these shirts all packaged up. I'm removing that sticky size label on the front of the shirt, folding the shirt nicely that it fits nice and flat in that plastic baggie, and again making sure that the size is visible for the processor. Okay, that's what it looks like, and now let's try using the gallon bags from Walmart with the twist ties. These are a little bit thinner than my baggies, but they will work. I decided to take the shirt and actually fold the shirt in half with the label hanging out because I am going to be adding some other things to these bags, but this fit pretty nicely at the bottom of the bag. With these bags, since they're a little bit bigger, you can choose to fold them down or twist tie them at the top. If you want to include a cup, you can roll your shirt up pretty nicely. Again, leaving that size tag hanging out so we can see it as a processor is really helpful. Tuck it in the bag and we'll put it in a baggie at the end. I also have some really pretty dresses from Cat and Jack at Target that I got at 90% off. These are pretty frilly, they're kind of big, but we're going to package those up for filler as well. I'm folding these as nicely as I can. It's a little bit harder with the dress, but again, when you're packaging up your clothing for filler, make sure that we can see the size on the outside easily. So when I folded this one up, you can see the Cat and Jack label in the center of the dress that's on the back collar. We're tucking this into an organza bag so it can be clearly seen. Okay, let's fold up a few more dresses and then we'll get to the next step that I like to do. Okay, next I like to add something a little fun to every bag to include with each shirt. Definitely not necessary if you just want to send in shirts. They will be a blessing to boxes and processors who need them. But in this case, I found these Uno cards at Target on clearance after Christmas, and I'm tucking a set of Uno cards in all of the boys' shirts. Here is the cup where I tuck the shirt inside, and I'm using an organza bag to package that up. That turned out pretty nice. This is what one of the gallon twist tie bags look like. I decided to add a ribbon at the top with the cards and the shirt, and it turned out pretty cute. This will be perfect for an older boy. I decided to add a cute Christmas stuffy to each of the younger child's shirts or dresses, because who doesn't love a nice, warm, cuddly stuffy? And the shirts are all Christmas themed, so I thought this would be fun to add. So I keep a collection of these in my stash of just smaller stuffies from the Christmas season. And these are great for this project to tuck in with each piece of clothing, shirt or dress. These Rudolph the reindeers have been waiting patiently to go to their forever home. And this cute Hallmark teddy bear will be perfect to add into one of these bags. So the last step, the one thing that I really like to do, but it's definitely not necessary, is to add a label to each bag. I only say it's not necessary because we've made the sizes very visible, but this certainly will help a processor because the processing line goes so fast and we need help sometimes. All the more help, the better. Of knowing, is this for a girl, is this for a boy, and what age group is this best for? So I found some labels on sending shoe boxes. There's also labels on OCC shoebox packers. Some of the labels were from my friend Nikki, but they all are really great to use. Some of these outfits can be for a boy or a girl, but some of them are definitely for a boy and some of them are definitely for a girl and have a specific age range. So this is what it looks like when I tuck in the label. I try to put it near the size as well. But these turned out very nicely with each of these fun labels. Thank you ladies for creating these labels for us. I actually printed the labels out on cardstock to make them a little more durable, but you can just print them out on paper. On this last one, I had already tied up the bag, so I'm just taking the label and taping it to the back of the bag. And that's what it looks like. This was for a boy age 10 to 14. This one's for a girl age 5 to 9. I was able to create 25 filler bags for the processing center in Baltimore. I know these will go super fast, but I know they'll be really appreciated. I hope this video will give you a few ideas or options on how to send in your clothing. There's been some questions in some of the Facebook groups on how to do this. Certainly just sending in the clothing as is perfectly fine, and Operation Christmas Child will bundle them up and put them in our filler bins. But if you can package them up like this and help the processors out a little bit, it will be greatly appreciated. Don't forget when you're done with your filler to add them to a box clearly marked filler, and you can take them to your shoebox drop-off locations during collection time. You can also take them directly to a processing center during the processing season if you live close to a center. So if you see a great deal on clothing, please consider sending it in as filler. Packaging them up nicely that makes it easier for the processors to see the size of the shirts is really helpful. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you're encouraged to pack more filler this year. It's been a great effort on all of us trying to get more filler out there, but do remember, shoeboxes do come first. Thanks so much for watching. God bless you. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and be sure to comment below if you have any questions regarding the filler that I created here today on my channel. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.